So one of the things um, about the gift that is music is it helps us to connect with what we're feeling. It helps at least those of us who maybe struggle to know what we're feeling, to sort of to do the deeper work of reaching down deep and understanding what we're experiencing in an emotional moment, or in a relationship, or in a situation that is going on in our lives, and in the complex interweb of dynamics that we have between the people that we share our lives with. Music is a true gift for that, and we know that. This is why we have love songs that help us to understand and relate to the emotions that we have with the people that we call beloved. This is why so many artists sell music and people respond to it. This is the time of year that if you're a Spotify listener, you get your year in review, you get your recap, and it tells you all this stuff about yourself and what you've listened to this year. And maybe if you've done that, you've learned some things about yourself. Apparently, I like songs that were written in the 70s. So my age, the age that Spotify thinks I am is like 78. So there you go. That was rather insulting last night when we discovered that in the car. But music does that. It helps us to connect with the felt part of our existence. And it helps us to really explore the emotions that we may be having that we're seeking to maybe pass over or not to deal with. Because, well, let's be clear, sometimes emotions are messy. Sometimes emotions boil over at inappropriate times. Sometimes emotions can get out of hand. And at other times, emotions are so repressed and kept down and bottled up that we don't know what we're actually feeling or what we're actually experiencing in this particular moment or that particular moment. That's why music matters. It's why we play music and why we listen to music. And that's why you know this to be true. Music at this particular time of year matters a whole lot. That's why when you walk into, doesn't matter if you walk into Walmart or a dollar store, or you're walking through the warehouse district here in Coleman, you're going to be inundated with beautiful music, especially this time of year. And look, it seems to come on a little earlier every year. But I will say, I have noticed this last year, at least they seem to be installing some amount of boundaries. They don't just go full tilt in November anymore. What they seem to be doing is, and I think my wonderful assistant over here pointed this out, they play like one Christmas song and then a couple secular songs and then one Christmas song, and then that sort of progresses over time. And now it's all Christmas music all day long, right? And so we can complain about that and we can lament about Christmas music and decorations coming out before Thanksgiving is even over. We're probably not going to win that fight or that battle. But the music is there to guide us, right? And so as you walk through the warehouse district, you feel the sense of Christmas as the music comes through the speakers that are so well hidden in that area, right? It does sort of lift your spirits. And so that is in essence why we're spending this Advent Christmas season looking at the songs and the carols that we sing during this time of year. And so as we talk about Sing We Now of Christmas, we're stopping and we're pausing to look at these carols and these songs of faith that have helped to shape and guide us over the years as people experiencing the joy of the season of Advent and Christmas, or at least maybe acknowledging other people's joy. You may struggle with it. You may not like it very much. And so the music is a constant presence. And we know that because you hear it in the shops and in the stores and on the radio. But then you come to church and you hear it here as well. So we sing about angels and shepherds. And we sing about this sense of expectation and longing. And maybe there is no better case for that, no better example for that than the song, O Come, Emmanuel. Now, here's what I will tell you. This is a song that I have had to take several pages of notes about because its history is so storied and so long. And so I will be departing from just memory here today. The actual carol, the actual hymn that is in our hymnal that I encourage you to open up to, it's in our hymnal 211 is the hymn. We'll be singing it in just a moment. But it was first written and put together in this format by a guy named John Mason Neal. Now, John Mason was an Episcopal priest, but he had what you would call a side hustle. He had some hobbies. And what he loved to do is he loved to translate early and medieval Greek and Latin hymns into in his spare time. What a hobby, right? Some of us play golf. Some of us go fishing. Some of us take long walks. Others apparently find joy translating medieval hymns into English. And so he did that. Now, when he did that, it was a poetry format, and it had no music, so he had to pair it with something, and he paired it with a very interesting musical choice. If you can remember in your head the song, O Come, Emmanuel, and when you hear it here in a moment, you're going to remember that it has got a sort of a somberness to it, a heaviness to it, and for good reason. Mr. Neal paired it with a funeral, I'm not going to say it right. Dirge. Did I say it right? Dirge. Funeral dirge. I practiced that all morning. Anyway, funeral dirge. And so it sounds, it's got this sort of back and forth sound to it. They're singing about expectation and longing, but to this sort of darker tone in music. Let's see if I can have a coughing fit. Here we go. So, it is a somber and heavy piece of music that pairs with these words of expectation and longing. And I think he did that on purpose, right? The music is supposed to help us to understand that the one that we long for and that fulfills all these prophecies also comes with the built-in expectation that he is facing a cross, death, and resurrection. And so all of that holds together. Now, he finds these words. These are indeed medieval words that he finds that originate not anywhere close to when he lived. They originate in the 8th century. They were written by Trent, can you run and get some water? I'm sorry. I'm haven't coughed all week, and here we are. So the medieval words that he translates comes from a group of monks who were committed to pray. And they wrote down what they called the O antiphons. I remembered that word. O antiphons. And these are, each one of these 7 different words relate to a messianic prophecy that Jesus comes to fulfill. And so I want to share those with you. That's why I wanted you to open your hymnal, because you'll see these. The first one is O wisdom. The second one is O Adonai, or O God. O stem, or of root of Jesse. Thank you. The next is Key of David. O King, Key of David. O Dayspring. O King of Gentiles. And O Emmanuel, God with us. And so one of those for the 7 days that lead up to Christmas. So the monks that originally wrote this created these words to be sang as part of their morning liturgy as they prepared the 7 days out before Christmas Day. And so out of this long, very historic words and out of these deep methodical thoughts comes this beautiful song that we sing that helps us to connect with this idea that that we are to be expectant for what God will do. Okay, that helps tremendously. There's nothing like a wry cough as a preacher. You're just up here trying to white knuckle it and wrestle it to the ground. It's not going to let you get by. And so this idea, these words that were written in the 8th century, now fast forward to this modern day where we get together and we still sing it every year, right? It guides us through the season. And at the heartbeat of it all is that feeling of expectation and longing. Just like all the music that we talked about before, whether it be romantic in nature or whether it be something that just helps us to reminisce and remember a time that has gone by and passed us by. You know, how many times have you, as a person, listened to a song that you listened to when you were a junior in high school and you were transported back? There are stories and even actual video clips of people who their mind is so wasted away with dementia and other mental declining issues that they can't tell you what they had for lunch today, or what they had for breakfast this morning. But you played the songs of their youth, and all of a sudden they come to life. It's like they're reanimated and they're right back to where they were. Music and singing has that power in us. And this hymn has that same power. That same power to wake us up to this realization that there's this sense of expectation and longing that we all have, that we all need to connect with during this particular time of year. And so I want to point out one other thing to you. If you notice, in the refrain part of this song, in the refrain part of this hymn, you find this response. So you hear the words, O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel. That mourning in lonesome and lonely exile here, until the Son of God appears. You hear those words, and then you respond with rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, rejoice. Be mindful, good friends, that these words that are tied to the coming of Emmanuel have not come when we find them originally in the book of Isaiah, as Trent read for us. You hear about this idea that a shoot will come from Jesse's stump, the stump of Jesse's tree. But do you understand how hopeless that is, or how hopeless that seems, at least originally? It means that the tree is cut down. It is no more. And in the light of that, we are still supposed to be expectant. And in light of that, we are to also rejoice. And the reality is, what we're faced with here today, good friends, is that Emmanuel comes to us, God comes to us, not just to come to us, but to be in this relational place with us, in this place of deep connection, in a not just here for us when we need something kind of way, but a God that is with us no matter what, in the good times and in the bad. And in the light of that, we are called to rejoice. Because this God comes to bring us peace. A peace that comes to us and that we experience whether we're choking up during our sermon or we're nailing it as perfectly as we thought we would. A God who comes to us in the good and in the bad moments of this life. And the peace that comes to us is probably only really known and felt when things aren't right. It's not something we often think about when we're on top of the world. But when we are experiencing the funeral drudge of this life, that's when we need to know and sense and feel this peace that comes to us. And it doesn't come to us through some magical way. It comes to us through that form of relationship that we anticipate and we expect and we long for. And this, good friends, is why we sing. This is why we sing these words, O come, Emmanuel. This is why we will sing them right after we share in this holy meal. This, too, is another way in which we're reminded of Christ's relationship. That he comes to us not in this far-off way, but he comes to us to be with us always. To be as close to us as our very breath. And that presence with us doesn't fade. Other gods and other traditions are not only far off, but you can't even call on their name. Because their name is either too holy or reverent or unknown. Our God not only comes to us and says, hey, I am here, I am setting up camp, I am with you. But he says, here's 7 different names you can call me. Oh, wisdom, oh, stump of Jesse, oh, Emmanuel, whatever you need, I am here, and I have come to you in all these different ways. So today, as we come to the table of the Lord, let us be reminded that we come hungry and expectant and longing with anticipation. Amen.